All right, what's up, everybody? It's Justin back again, and it is through-hiking time. Well, mini through-hike at least. So today I am out on the Loyalsock Trail in northern central Pennsylvania. So this is a point-to-point 60-mile hike. So it'll probably take me about 4 to 5 days to complete. And this is actually my very first Shakedown hike in preparation for my Appalachian Trail through hike next year. So I'm excited to get out here and see what Pennsylvania has to offer, and I'm excited to spend the next 4 days on trail. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, I had to get away from the road, so it's a little less noisy here so I can really talk. But yeah, I planned this hike about a month ago, planning to spend 4 days hiking just about 60 miles through Loyalsock State Forest in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So the purpose of this hike is to really test out the gear setup that I've sort of created and developed for myself. A lot of the gear that I plan to take on the AT next year, I have on this hike. So we're just gonna see how everything works, see if everything works, see what I like and what I don't like about my current setup and what I might want to change. Now, a lot of the gear that I have with me, I've been using for at least a couple of years now. And so that gear will more than likely come with me out on the AT next year. But then I recently acquired quite a bit of new gear, which I haven't exactly tested out in the field yet. So these next 4 to 5 days will be the test for my new gear. And that includes a new tent, this new pack on my back, which I haven't really used all that much, and quite a few other things. And so while I'm on this trail, my intention is to not only record footage of the hike, but also sort of walk you all through my current gear setup. So over the next few days, I am going to try to talk about everything that is currently on my back and on my body, like this shirt. So yeah, it should be fun. I'm excited to be out here. It's just after 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, which is a little later than what I had planned to start today, but I had to rework some things out with my shuttle driver. And by the way, I want to give a big shout out to Robert. I connected with him through the Loyalsock Trail Facebook group. He shuttles hikers from the eastern terminus to the western terminus, since the eastern terminus has a much bigger parking lot, and it's often recommended to start west and hike east. So that's what I'm gonna do. He is a super nice gentleman, was able to shuttle me from the eastern terminus to the western terminus at a reasonable price of $60. And now I'm out here and I'm super excited, so I hope you are too. Right off the bat, this trail starts with a 1,200 foot climb up to the first Vista. So I'm making my way up now, and it is a lot warmer than what I thought it was going to be in mid-October. It's like pushing 80 degrees, but I'm happy to be here. Now, I was looking at the weather forecast before I arrived, and it did say that there are scattered thunderstorms projected for later on this afternoon, starting around like 3 or 4 o'clock. I wasn't too excited to see that. So I'm really gonna start picking up the pace to get up and over this Vista And hopefully it'll miss me. That's what I'm praying for. But I'm also here to test everything out in different types of weather. So we'll just see what happens. So yeah, let's get it. You probably can't tell from this video, but that shit just goes straight up. Here we go. The LT is not playing with me today. They definitely said the first half of this trail is the more challenging section. I've only gone half a mile, and y'all see how hard I'm breathing? And I'm hot and sweating. This is only the beginning, so let's keep going. I'll just say, for anyone who may be interested in doing some hiking, backpacking in Pennsylvania, be warned, Pennsylvania is steep and Pennsylvania is rocks. So my plan for today is to try to squeeze in maybe 10 or 11 miles to my first campsite. And I'm hoping that I can get that in before any storm systems come through, because I definitely don't want to be at high elevation where I'm super exposed when a storm is rolling in, because that is the worst idea. So I'm hoping that I can knock it out. I am a pretty fast hiker generally. I do have 5 days of food in my pack, which is not ideal, but it's not super heavy. So I feel pretty good, and I'm just gonna try to get a move on. So I chose to hike this trail because, well, from what I've read and researched, it just seems to be a really beautiful trail that isn't that well known. Some of the highlights include, I think, more than a dozen waterfalls. And there are tons of vistas and cool overlooks. And I think, especially during this time of year, we're coming up on peak foliage season. Like, those views are going to be stunning. But I also read that this trail has plenty of water sources, which I just stepped over one. And I think it'll really give me that feeling of a thru-hike, just being out in the wilderness for 4 to 5 days. Now, I won't be doing any resupplying because that's not really an option on this trail. So you kind of have to start with 4 to 5 days of food, depending on whatever you feel your skill level is. But yeah, I love little hidden gems like this that a lot of people don't really know about. And I think more people should know about these smaller trails, because they're just as beautiful as something like the AT. Like, I've only been out here for an hour and some change, and I'm already impressed. And even the drive, if the next few days are anything like what I saw during the drive up here, then we're in for something pretty spectacular. So I can't wait. First real view of the trip. This section that I just came down, it was so scary and technical. It's nothing but leaves and rocks, and it's all so slick. As soon as I put my foot down, and it doesn't matter how carefully I do so, my foot just slides right out from underneath me, and I almost took so many spills, but I just had to really slow down my pace and take my time. But it was so steep and so slippery. I'm glad that's over. All right, so right now I'm 5 miles in exactly, and I'm tired again. Man, on the East Coast, the ascents and descents are so steep and so direct. It's like you're just going straight up, and I'm going straight up once again. Pushing for another 5 miles, maybe try to squeeze in a little more. We'll see. Whew, this is my first time popping a squat since I've been out here. Whew, these climbs are no joke. Whew, and it feels like an 85-degree summer day in the middle of October. Fall is like the mixiest season out of all of them. Doesn't know what temperature it wants to be. Not seeing any rain clouds yet, which I'm thankful for, and I hope it stays this way. I might chill here for like 10 minutes and then pick it back up and keep going. I do have a pretty nice view, which I will show you now. Now this is what I'm talking about. Man, look at that. Okay, so it is coming up on 5 o'clock. I'm at about 7.5 miles on the day. Still trying to push for my goal of hitting 10 miles for the day, which I think I can do it. Oh, well, as long as there aren't any more super intense, steep climbs like the 2 that I've done so far today. I think the sun is supposed to set sometime between 6:30 and 7. And I'm hoping that I can find a campsite right around 6 o'clock. Yeah, so that should give me a good 30 minutes to get camp set up and at least get started on dinner, even if I'm not like sitting down eating by the time the sun sets. But yeah, that's the plan. So we're doing it. First wildlife sighting is this little porcupine back in here. I think I startled him a little bit, but I'm just gonna leave him alone and keep going. All right, so I completed my goal today. I made it just over 10 miles. I found a campsite. As you can see, my tent is right behind me. And it's honestly just in the nick of time because I am losing daylight fast. So I'm going to finish setting up inside my tent, get my bear line set up, and then get started on dinner. So for tonight's dinner, we've got mashed potatoes with bacon bits and olive oil. And it's pretty good. I'm trying to eat fast because, as you can see, it's quite dark out here. Yeah. All right, it's about 8:15 p.m. Day one is complete. I think tomorrow I am going to try to push for 18 miles. That may change tomorrow. I know that the forecast is calling for rain, so we'll see what happens with that, and we'll see how I feel. I had a nice dinner. I did all my chores for the night, brushed my teeth. I just finished rolling my legs with this cork massage ball, so I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna get a nice 10 hours of rest, and I hope to be up at like 6 a.m. to get an early start of the day. I feel pretty good about knocking out 10 miles today, given the fact that I started at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So if you give me an entire day, like, let's see what I can do with that. So I'm about to go to bed. It is hiker bedtime, so I'll see you all in the morning. Good night. All right, so it's just after 8:30 in the morning on day two. I had breakfast in my tent. I had my coffee. I refilled my water, and I am pushing on for the day. So I have a full day today. So I'm planning to try to get in about 18 miles. So we'll see how that goes. And we'll see what the terrain looks like today. If it's more climbing, it might be pretty difficult. But hey, I've got a full 8 or 9 hours to work with, so I think we can do this. The trail so far, though pretty well marked, it does feel just slightly overgrown. So many of these sections, I'm literally like brushing past everything. As you can kind of see, I even have a couple of like tiny cuts on my leg from brushing past branches and stuff like that, but it's not completely terrible. It's not the worst that I've seen. It did rain last night, so everything's a little wet today, which I was actually hoping for, because this gives me a great opportunity to test out my rain gear. Right behind my head, strapped to the outside of my pack, is my rain jacket. I have the helium rain jacket from Outdoor Research. I was wearing it when I left camp this morning, but right away I became very hot, so I took it off. And you can't see them right now, but my rain bottoms that I'm currently using are the Purple Rain Adventure Kilt, which I just got literally the week before this trip. I'm so glad that I was able to put in a custom order, and they were able to make it and ship it to me before my trip. It feels pretty good wearing a kilt. It feels nice and free, and it is doing the job of being pretty water resistant so far, so I'm happy with it. Yeah, let's keep going. Trail conditions today are wet and foggy. I actually enjoy hiking in this type of weather much more than the hot sun. But if I don't do a whole lot of filming today, you know why. So I just came to this stream crossing, and with the way that I was slipping and sliding yesterday, I knew that today was probably going to be even worse. So I'm looking for a place to cross, and the only thing that I really see is this log going across the stream. And all I could think to myself was, damn. Because I knew that as soon as I put my foot down on that log, it was just going to go sliding right into the stream. And that's exactly what happened. So it's not even 10 o'clock yet, and I now have wet feet. But I think I'll be able to dry them out, or at least let them air out a little bit when I stop for lunch today. But I just wanted to share that. Yo, this fog is wild. So cool. Okay, so I just had a pretty scary incident happen, maybe 2.5 miles back. So I had come to this clearing in the trail, and so I decided, oh, this would be a good place to stop and get some footage. So I'm like setting up my phone, and I'm about to put the tripod down on the ground, and all of a sudden, on my left-hand side, I hear this sound, and it was like this deep, low growl. And if it wasn't a growl, then it might have sounded like something snoring. And immediately, like, my skin probably turned white in that moment because all the blood sank from the top of my head down to my toes. I don't know what that was. I turned and looked, and I didn't see anything in the trees. And it wasn't really that thick, so if there was something there, I feel like I should have been able to see it. But I didn't see anything. And immediately, I was just like, okay, to hell with this footage. Like, I picked up my pack, picked up my poles, and I started moving away as quickly as I could. And I didn't want to turn my back to the area where I heard it, so I'm like walking sideways, facing where I heard the sound, and I'm like waving my trekking poles over my head and lightly tapping them together to let whatever that was know that I'm like not a threat. I'm also not prey, and I'm moving away and I'm leaving you alone. But when I tell you that shook the hell out of me, I don't even want to be standing here right now, even though I'm on this road. And I mean, I looked at the map once I got what I thought would be a safe distance away, and I saw that there is a road, which is this road, that was just maybe a half mile away from where I was on the same side that I heard that sound. So I don't know, it could have been a vehicle, but I feel like I would have heard the vehicle approaching and the sound would have gotten louder, and then as it passed where I was, I would have heard the sound getting softer. But I don't know, this just came out of nowhere because I didn't hear any rustling in the leaves at all. I didn't hear anything, and out of nowhere it was just this low growl or grunt or snort or whatever. But I don't know what that was. Thankfully I didn't see anything. Thankfully I don't think I'm being followed. So yeah, it started pouring down raining as soon as I started like moving away from that area. So maybe that was my warning to like keep it moving, because we gotta get these miles done today. But yeah, that terrified me. Also, before I go, happy birthday to my mom. today's her birthday, October 16th. And I actually remembered at 10:16 this morning, so I shot her a happy birthday message using my Garmin inReach Mini. So yeah, happy birthday to her. I've been road walking for maybe a mile now. I think I maybe have another mile and a half of road walking to go before I jump back on the trail. So I'm gonna keep moving in case whatever that was decides to try to find me. So yeah, see you in a bit. You know the day sucks when you're forced to sit down and eat a wet-ass lunch, because what else are you gonna do? It's been raining non-stop for at least 3 hours now, and I mean pouring rain. Just to give a quick update, it has been pouring down rain for hours. At this point, my rain jacket and kilt are completely soaked through. My shoes and socks have been wet since this morning when I slipped into that creek. So yeah, today kind of sucks. I mean, I'm glad it's not super cold because that would be even worse. But yeah, it doesn't seem to be letting up at all, or not really a lot. Thankfully, this is the only day with rain in the forecast, so tomorrow should be better. But I'm still trying to get to camp. Got about 7 or 8 miles to go for the day, so happy about that. I'm really hoping that either says 0.3 or 0.8 miles to Angel Falls. I think this is supposed to be one of the highlights of this trail, and I really don't want to go too far off the trail just to see this, but that's what I came for, so I'm gonna go check it out. So in a turn of events, I decided against going to check out Angel Falls. I was wondering if that detour might take me to a falls, but it looked like it was taking me all around the mulberry bush. And as you can see, the rain is starting to come down pretty heavy again, so I'm just gonna stick to the LT on this one and push on to camp. This is Kettle Creek Vista. Literally the best moment of the entire day, even with all this damn rain. After such a miserable day, it seems like the rain is finally starting to let up at 5 o'clock after it's been raining since 10:30 this morning. This is the first glimpse of sunlight that I've gotten all day, and this view is stunning. And I'm almost at camp, and I'm so ready for this day to be over, so I'm going to get there. All right, so this brings us to the end of day 2. Man, I can't tell you how glad I am that it's over. I finally got to camp. I got my tent set up fast as shit. Just got my bear line set up, and I'm gonna jump in my tent, get out of these soaking wet clothes, get something to eat, and relax for the rest of the day. All right, so this is literally the moment I've been waiting for all day. I'm cooking dinner in my tent tonight because everything outside is just wet. I'm also gonna make some hot chocolate to warm myself up from being wet all day. I'm happy to finally have on dry, warm clothes. And I think today is the only day where there was really rain in the forecast. So I'm hoping that the rest of this trip is a lot better than today was. But I'll see you all later. So dinner for tonight is chicken teriyaki with rice and vegetables. And I also threw some Fritos in there for a little extra crunch. And I added some cayenne pepper for a little spice. I'm drinking some hot chocolate. And for dessert, I have some Gushers. Okay, it is pretty much 8:30. I finished all my camp chores and I'm just getting ready to head to bed. But before I do, I wanted to update you on a couple of things. First off, I probably did the best PCT style bear hang of my backpacking career today, which I am super stoked about. And if there are any bears lurking in the area, they definitely are not getting my food tonight. Second thing, while I was out hanging my bag, I happened to look up at the sky and I saw the moon and stars, which means it's a clear night, which means the weather forecast appears to be accurate and today should be the only day that I have to deal with rain. Thank goodness, because I probably got a month's worth of rain just today. So I'm so glad that I'm expecting sunny skies for the rest of this trip, and hopefully I'll be able to dry all of my gear out before I finish up on either Monday or Tuesday. So tomorrow I'm looking to do about 19 miles to get to my next campsite, and then I might just be finishing up on Monday because that'll just leave me with 13 miles left. But that all depends on how tomorrow goes. Like I said, I do have 5 days worth of food, so if plans change and I do end up staying until Tuesday, that should be fine. But I think I would like to get out of here Monday if I can, so it all depends on whether or not I can knock out these 19 miles tomorrow. But we'll see. For now, I am going to bed, so good night.